All right, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, September 8th, 2022. Not done so already, give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, so a lot of volatility going on today, and much ado for nothing, really. We kind of, last 10 minutes, we did get a little bit of a bid here. Q's just up 0.5%, though. A lot of whipsaw. And then we had kind of a little bullish consolidation here in the afternoon, and they finally squeezed us up into the close. So they're fighting for that 4,000 handle. We got above that on the spiders. Let's take a look at the SPX. So yep, just above 4,000. So a small victory there for the bulls. Powell spoke this morning. Really kind of a nothing burger. You know, if you're really in the grand scheme of things, he kind of just reiterated what he was already saying. I think the market already kind of knew that, but the algos gapped it down anyway, just because algos tend to freak out sometimes. We got a nice V shape here and a little rollover at that 4,000 Pierce. And then interestingly enough, so we had, there was the rumor, I'm sure everybody knows now, the queen died. But there was kind of like a rumor about it earlier. And before it was announced, we had this huge dump. I don't know if that was really related to the queen. I do know that the ES futures contract did roll over at noon today. Maybe been a little bit of backwardation, something of that nature. But either way, we had this big dump. So lots of whipsaw and then, kind of a V shape. And we really just kind of held in this range for about 2-3 hours and really just kind of signaling until the last, 10 minutes, really, lots of indecision. And if we take a look, nice pop there on the semis, by the way. But if we take a look at the spiders daily, you can see, and I said this, late last week, and I've been saying it this week too. This does just look like kind of bearish chop, bear consolidation, a bear base, whatever you want to call it, until we can get above, 401.56 on a closing basis. So let's draw that in right here. So that high, if we cannot close above that, I still give the market a bear bias. Even though we got above 4,000, there was a pretty good battle here today for that level. Bulls got a small victory, but you're still below, you're above the psychological number, but now you're still below the 50, the 100, and the 20, and the 200 for that matter. But you're below that level. This level is more important to me than anything. And if we flip back to April, May, so this was kind of that level right there that we couldn't close above. This is the FOMC day. We gapped down the next day. Same thing kind of here. If we look at the, you can see it a little better on the futures. There we go. So, there's that inside bar right there. You never closed above it. And then back on this pattern here, you tested that high, but you never closed above it, and then we dumped out. So that's going to be kind of the key here. Can we get a close above that? For the ES, it would be this red bar high here at 40.1925. If we can do that and, eventually close above the 50, that opens the door for a move to 410 on the spiders. Maybe a back test of this head and shoulder neckline, which actually that satisfied, that went down to target. Then you got that 20 moving average down sloping there. I want to show you something really quick I noticed today as well that may have triggered here in the last, so close. So we have, let's zoom out, there we go. Potential inverse head and shoulder here. And target, you just take this measured move here. Just do it for you right now, why not? And it pretty much takes you, right to 410. Well, okay, yeah, 414. So if that triggers, they almost triggered it in the last 10 minutes, but if that triggers, and that's going to be on, we'll call it an hourly close. Maybe let's take a look at the 4-hour. I would say an hour. Okay, let's go with an hourly. We'll go with an hourly close there above that. Could trigger. Now, again, it still doesn't negate the daily bear pattern. It hasn't triggered yet, by the way, so just let's not get too excited. But that is in play, and that would really be your next level. So that would imply essentially that we're going to get a close. We flip back to the spiders. Essentially, we would have to get a close above 401.56 if that pattern's going to trigger anyway. So, that could be in play, and that would give you a move back up into this area. So definitely something to watch for. I don't know if it happens. There's going to be a lot of whipsaw coming up here. Today we saw a preview of it, I think. Tomorrow, the weekly close is going to be everything. If we close above that, I would definitely think we're going to go up there next week. There's a lot of puts in the system right now. And we have a quad witching OPEX next week. So that's a quarterly close and a monthly OPEX and a quarterly OPEX as well. So there's going to be a ton of whipsaw. We also have CPI on Tuesday. As far as I know, there's no consensus for that yet. I've been looking that up every chance I get, and I can't find a consensus. If anybody can find a consensus, please let me know in the comments, because I'm actually looking at TD right now on my other screen. There's nothing for that yet. Either way, we don't really care about the number. We just care about the market's reaction. Point is, we've got potentially a lot of volatility coming up here. Now, again, I'm still have a bear bias, especially if we bigger picture bear bias here, especially if we stay in this range here and consolidate. But it's very unlikely that it's very rare too that you see a big dump during an OPEX week. You know, you can top during an OPEX week like we did up here, and we've done previously. But usually you don't see major selling because market makers want to be in control. They want to, they don't want to have the VIX exploding when they're trying to push every stock which way, and especially quad witching. So you got oil, commodities, all that other stuff, bonds, forex, all expiring. Usually they're going to want to be in control of that. So my bias would be probably towards chop and theta burn. And then if we have a sell-off, it would probably come the week after. That's kind of my my outlook right now. But anyways, let's take a look here at our sectors. We'll go through the usuals. So Qs here. Again, on the softer side, definitely notably weaker than everything else. Still well below that that red bar high there on the daily. Russell 2000 is the strong horse. So again, this is kind of a little bit of your, I guess your bull case here, is that the Russell is stronger. Still did not close above the red bar high here, but I mean, up 83 basis points today. It's leading the market right now. So that's generally a good sign right now, at least in the near term, because the Russell 2000 is a small cap index. So that indicates risk. Dow up 60 basis points here, still well below that high. Now on the other side, the flip side here, we look at the semis. We always want to look at the semis. A nice rally today, up 1.36. But again, we noted yesterday, I mean, you didn't even close above Tuesday's high. I mean, that's a pathetic move there for the semis, and I need to see the semis leading if I'm going to get bullish. And when you look at the spiders did yesterday, that was a good outside candle, and even the Qs had an outside candle yesterday, and the semis just lagging. Not a good sign. I don't like to see that. IGV, again, also kind of lagging yesterday. It did get above yesterday's high, but still a little bit of a laggard here, so we definitely have to keep an eye on that. This will have probably a little bit of a test up here. Still below that bar high there as well. But overall, the tech sector is under pressure. I want to talk about Apple, though, really quick. So remember when we were back up here and I said Apple's going to go back to 150 or 152? Well, we're basically there now. But this is actually, and this is why I think the market could get a bounce here, this is actually looking like a good buy, honestly. I mean, you're not going to get a better setup than that usually. So you went straight up, you were way overbought, and then we came back down, straight down, 100 MA, 50% fib, home base. I don't have a problem with anybody taking a stab at that there. Could it chop around and build a bear base and push through it? Absolutely. But if you get a pierce of this tomorrow, if we're down, I mean, I wouldn't fault anybody for taking. You got a gap fill there too. I wouldn't fault anybody for taking it. So that's why I think, we could get a little bit of bounce here. Let's look at Microsoft as well. Yeah, this one's had a huge fall. Did have a decent little update today, actually just fractionally higher. But some of these other FANG names are on the weaker side too, though. Google closing negative today. Amazon had a little rally towards the end. So overall, point is, I want to see the semis moving up. But short term, the market can get a bid. You got the Russell, you got Apple into a good support area. So we'll see what we get. And again, it's going to be all about that weekly close tomorrow. Anyways, Basile, nice outside candle today, up 3%. So nice move there, getting above that little red bar high there. So next resistance is right about 89.50 with this red bar there for biotech. Transports, here's a bear case. So it's like we have a really mixed bag here. Some things are showing bull case, some things are showing bear case. Transport's weak again. We noted that yesterday. Crude got hit yesterday and the transports were down in the morning. That's not a sign of strength. Basically flat on the day, unchanged. So lagging the market a little bit. It did rally up off the lows, but this is still, you know, you look at the transports intraday, down, couldn't take out the highs, rolled over, almost got back down to double bottom. Then you closed basically, you know, near the highs of the day. But we look at the spiders, you know, they made a new high to yesterday, had an outside day, and, you know, a much more significant higher low. So transport's definitely on the weaker side. Transports and semis, leading indicators, not good to see them lagging the market. All right, rates here. You know, gap down, had a nice little rally here. It's basically just chopping in this zone. If this consolidates, honestly, I think rates are kind of just backing and filling right now. On the bigger time frames especially, you have a pretty good sizable gap there, so that may need to get filled as well. That is a power candle, though, for the 10-year there, so we have to respect that. But I still just see a lot of monthly resistance up here, and especially on the 30-year as well. Just a lot. The pivot there, got these red bars up here. I think we just have to do some more backing and filling, but I don't think that rates are done yet. I just think that they're kind of in a cooling off phase right now. Anyways, HYG, you know, up 0.5%, so nice little outside candle. This will have resistance at about 76. So you got the necktie there, 2050, red bar, and then above that's the 100. So we'll see if that can rally up. If it can, that's going to be an area where it will stall out. All right, home builders, XHB again getting back above that 100. So a short-term kind of victory here. Not very good volume though on this little up move, so definitely noteworthy there. Looks like that may have gotten, yeah, that closed above 60.78, so that took out that little high there. So this might have upside, you know, back up to this pivot, maybe the 20 moving average there. So we'll see if that can get a bid here. ITB, a little bit weaker than the XHB, and then again, your upside obviously going to be the same area there. That pivot that coincides there with the XHB pivot. So right around 58 bucks will be your next resistance on ITB, and then VNQ continuing to be strong here. So up 1, 2, 3 days in a row. And again, same thing, convergence of all these moving averages up here. So you'll have some good resistance. This is also a previous breakdown area. So those are going to be your levels there on the VNQ, but VNQ has been strong the last couple of days. Fins also continuing to be a strong sector, really outperforming the market, honestly. Above that pivot candle, so the red bar high, I wouldn't expect the 20 to be very major at this point because we've traded through it so many times. Really, your next level is probably going to be up to this red bar high, so right around 35 bucks. So XLF, outside move, it's leading the market. Definitely have to respect that. XBD, still not above this pivot, but you know, it's had a nice little pullback and a pop, so we'll see what it does here tomorrow. If we can get above that pivot by Friday's close and 200 moving average by Friday's close, that would be a sign of strength here in the near term. All right, energy, so crude, you know, a little bit of a pause candle, was up 1%, so paired some of the losses from yesterday. I don't see this as a bottoming candle by any means. You know, if you reverse tomorrow and you close above that red bar, then I would say there's probably a very good chance of a major bottom being in crude. Until then, it still could put in a little bit of maybe some bear chop and head a little bit lower, but I still think this is an accumulation zone for crude oil, and honestly just continue buy dips at this point. XLE, you know, basically a flattish day, nothing really too new to add there. OIH chopping around, XOP, same kind of thing, just kind of bouncing around with that 100 moving average. But again, energy still a very strong sector relative to the rest of the market. Nat gas, dead cat bounce here at 8 bucks. So if you guys are long this, just be careful. I would get out on any sort of strength, honestly, because this should have really popped off of that level, and the fact that it's not is a little bit of a red flag. Doesn't mean it can't still move back up. It's been resilient, it's been strong all year long. The trend is up, the weekly trend is up. This is very strong. It is extended, yes. So you gotta keep that into consideration here. But even with this sell-off, it's still kind of extended on the bigger time frames. But just be careful with it, because if this loses this trend line, this can go right to 650 very quickly. So just be prepared for that. Dollar index, so continue to pull back a little bit today. It actually closed flattish, and I managed to close flat here. So no follow through on the down move. So who knows? Maybe it's got a little bit more upside left in it. Again, I said I liked yesterday's candle, but I would have liked it a lot more if it was fully engulfing, and really kind of just an outside candle. But we haven't gotten that, so Dollar still holding up okay. Let's look at the yen. We talked about that yesterday. I still think this is trying to put in a top here. Maybe it has a little bit more upside in it. I wouldn't rule that out, but I think we're starting to put in, it's getting really top heavy. We'll put it that way. Anyways, dollar, we got over to that. So let's get to gold. Gold a little softer here. This is starting to chop sideways right now. Some of you guys may be questioning why I like the miners here. There has been times, plenty of times in the past, where miners do bottom before gold. In fact, a lot of the time that's what you want to see. And we're seeing a little bit of a higher low potentially in gold, but this is kind of bearish chop right now. And if we look at GDX, this has made a lower low, but it's had a nice bounce off the lows here. Actually scratched out a gain today. SILJ, same thing. This is creating a bit of a positive divergence to the price of silver here. And silver's hammering back on this 1850 area as well. If it can get through that, it's got some decent legs for a nice up move. But essentially with gold, yes, there could be, especially if we have a volatility event like I think we will. Gold's often used in margin selling and so on and so forth, but it can bottom very quickly, and it often bottoms before the market, and the miners can too. So let me show you here. We go back to 2020. This one candle here is a 38% move, and then this here is about 50. So you're talking about 16 to 25. That's a humongous move in 2 days. Actually, in 1 day, it's 38%. So the miners can, we could have a flash crash. I wouldn't rule that out, but they will bottom and they will V-shape. So right now, gold's looking a little bit softer. I still think it has a good shot of putting in some type of an ABC up here in the meantime. But I just want to give you guys a little bit more insight as to what I'm looking at there with the miners, as I get that kind of question all the time with the weakness in gold's pattern in relation to the miners. But anyways, let's move on here. Platinum continuing to surge. So it stalled out at that 1875 area, like I was saying the last couple of days. And you can see here, let's look on the 10-minute. Pulled back off of that, had a nice sharp sell-off, but then it recovered. So that's a really good sign of strength. The fact that you hit resistance and you were short-term overbought and you actually rallied back intraday, that's a pretty good sign of strength here. So you're right into this little resistance area, 2050 MA necktie. This is your previous breakdown area, right? So they should pull back here, or at least flag, but I think the WV is going to come into play. So, I said we'd probably put in a W bottom when we pierced this low, and we're getting that V shape now. If we can get a pullback and a V there, this has serious legs in it. So I'm really liking platinum right here. I love the pattern, would like to see a little bit of a flag or a pullback, and then this thing can really take off to the upside. I really like the pattern in platinum right now. Palladium also with a nice little bid here, but again, just kind of range bound, so nothing really too new to add there. And then copper, nice little outside day, up 3.5%. This can get back above the 20. You could put in a little ABC up, so nice little move there for copper on the daily. All right, so let's get over to Bitcoin. And there's the yields. All right. So Bitcoin hanging in there at 19.4, still inside of that red bar there. Again, just continues to underperform the market. Ether merge coming up soon. So again, that has continued to see a little bit more money flow. If it can get back above that 50 and that red bar, this can have legs possibly back up to that double top, maybe that 200 moving average. I definitely wouldn't rule that out. But for right now, I want to see Bitcoin really kind of leading, and it's not doing that. Doge hanging in there, Polkadot up 3%, so decent little move there for some of these cryptos. But again, the big dog is still really weak here, and it just continues to stair step down with these flag patterns, and I don't really see it. There's really no new developments. It's just continuation, and like we were talking about the other day, it's been a slow bleed here for crypto. All right, yeah, flipping back over to the spiders here. So we're up a little bit here after hours, up to 493, so almost to 401. We'll see where we open tomorrow. It's all about the close tomorrow. This white line is really kind of be my line in the sand. I don't even care about the moving averages. I want to see it above 401.56. If it can do that, you'll probably have legs up to 410 on the spiders, 4,100 or so on the SPX. So we'll be watching that tomorrow. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll talk to you all tomorrow.